Hey everybody, it's Kristian back again with another virtual science short. This week we're going to be diving into the world of electricity. Now if you haven't already seen, Miss Kaylee put out an amazing video on DIY squishy circuits. If you want to check that video out, go ahead and click the link up above. But let's go ahead and get started. Now before we start talking about electricity, first we have to understand where electricity comes from. Now electricity actually comes from these really tiny particles that we can find all around us called atoms. And if you've ever seen a picture of an atom, it's going to look something like this. Right, this is a diagram of an atom. Right, those lines that you see are actually going to be orbit lines. We'll talk about those in a second. Now inside of our nucleus, or the center of the atom, you're going to find a couple different types of particles, protons and neutrons, which are very important to the atom, but not really important to electricity. The ones that we want to look at are actually going to be orbiting around the outside, right, along these lines. Right, these circles around the outside are called electrons, and those electrons are what are actually going to help us produce electricity. Now you see, since these electrons are on the outside of the atom, they can very easily get removed or displaced from the atom. Now the electricity actually comes from these electrons once they start moving. Once we get the electrons away from the atom and they start moving all together, the energy that they release is the electricity that we know. So now we understand a little bit about where the electricity comes from. Let's see what we can actually do with it. All right, so now that we know a little bit about electricity, let's see what we can actually do with it. If you saw the video Miss Kaylee did on circuits, you know that a circuit is basically a series or a path that electricity is going to use to get from point A to point B. And we can simulate that series very easily here with this energy stick. Right, what we need to do is basically connect these 2 points on the energy stick to create our circuit. Now I don't have any extra wires lying around, but something cool you can actually do is use your body. Now, since the human body is made up of mostly water, we are really good conductors of electricity. So if I just place my hands on both sides, you'll see that my energy stick will go ahead and start lighting up. And as soon as I let go, it stops. Right? My body becomes the circuit. I help to move that electricity. But we can't actually see very much of that electricity when it's here in the energy stick. So what we can actually do to see or visualize electricity is actually use something really cool called a plasma orb. Now plasma is going to be our fourth state of matter, along with solid, liquid, and gas. Basically, if we take that gas and we continue to heat it up, that gas begins to get really hot and it actually picks up an electric charge. Right, one really good example of a plasma is the sun. If you were to go outside, the sun is a natural plasma, or if you're ever in the middle of a lightning storm and you see that lightning flash, that lightning is going to be plasma as well. Right, so a couple of visuals that you can actually see. Now we're able to take that plasma and actually put it here inside of this orb. Well, we can't really see it well with the lights on, so let's go ahead and turn our lights off. Now with the lights off, you can definitely see our plasma. You're going to see all sorts of these blue strings shooting out from the center. Those are going to be the streams of electrons that are being released from the center of our plasma orb, and those electrons are trying to escape. So you can see them going towards the outer edge of our orb. Now what's cool, just like we said before, humans are really good conductors of electricity. If I were to take my hand and place it right on top, you'll notice that most of those electrons will condense down into one single stream and try to actually go into my body. That way they can escape faster. Right? Electrons are always looking for the quickest escape. And as soon as I let go, those streams begin to scatter again. All right? So just another way we can actually see how humans are good conductors of electricity and how we can create circuits with our body. Now, let's go ahead and get our lights back on. Much better with the lights on. Now, before we said we were dealing with electricity. You see all those electrons here, and we use that to help complete our circuit. What's cool about the plasma orb, it's actually giving off so many of those free electrons. If we take our energy stick and move it closer, you'll see that it'll actually turn on even without me completing the circuit or touching either of the ends. Right? There's just so much free electricity happening right here that you can actually turn it on, which is really cool. But something else we can use to actually move electricity very easily is to use some really powerful tools. Now this is something called an Odin coil, and this can be used to direct electricity to a very specific point right here on the end. And I'm gonna go ahead and use this to turn on some more of my light bulbs. But lights. Now that our lights are off, we can go ahead and turn on our light bulb. So once I actually hold my Odin coil next to this light bulb, you'll see it'll start to glow. And there's that purple stream in between there. Again, that purple stream is our stream of electrons going from the coil to the bulb. Not only can we turn on this bulb, we have some really colorful bulbs we can turn on too. Lights. Much better. So the last thing we're going to be playing with is this thing right here. It's one of my favorite electricity toys, something called a Van de Graaff generator. Now this thing generates a different type of electricity called static electricity. Same thing you felt if you've ever gone down a slide or rubbed your socks across the carpet and touched someone, you feel a little static shock or discharge. That's actually electrons jumping from one area to another. We can actually see that static discharge with our Van de Graaff generator. So let's get this thing turned on. Now that this thing is on, we can go ahead and see that static discharge. The only thing preventing that is this wand here. But as soon as I move that wand away, you're actually able to see that electricity jumping from one end to another. But just like always, let's take care of these lights. Lights. All right, now this stuff is awesome. Some of you guys may have seen it before. If you actually touch this stuff, what happens is the static electricity that builds up in the top will actually get transferred into your body. Again, because we're really good conductors. But just like with the plasma orb, those electrons are looking to escape. And the easiest way to escape is your hair. So I'm gonna bring in a friend of mine who has a lot more hair than me. She's gonna demonstrate exactly what's going on. Now you can see here with our lovely assistant Nicole, she is touching our Van de Graaff generator, and what begins to happen, you can actually see the electricity leaving her hair, right? Nicole, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Yes, and you look great. Look at the hair strands. Let's get close. You can see all of those hair strands begin to stand up. Give your head one more big shake. Electrifying. Well, that about wraps it up for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you really enjoy our videos, make sure you subscribe to stay tuned, as we're going to be releasing new videos each and every week. I want to thank you again for watching. I'm Kristian. I'll see you guys next time.